What's up, guys, and welcome to the fourth update for Floors of Discomfort. I got a lot to go over in this video. We got new levels, new enemies, new concepts for new items, so much to talk about. So let's get right into it. First, I'm going to talk about some of the changes to this shop and some of the new items. Or there's only one new item, but there's a new item concept that I'll go over in a little bit. So as you can see here, there's a bit of a UI change in the shop. We now have the amount of coins and your health bar, which is also new in the shop, which should have been there from the beginning, but I just got around to doing it now. So the new item in the shop is the compass. What the compass does is it points you to where the door is that allows you to advance to the next room or floor. And I had the idea after playing the game a little bit, realizing that it takes a while for me to find the door, so I thought the compass would be a good idea. And I haven't gotten around to figuring out how I'm going to get the prices to show up for the item, but as of right now the compass is 25, and I'm going to get around to that. So another thing, the health bar has changed. We moved on from the old design to this new bar, which is a big improvement from the previous one. It's now moved in the middle, and the coins have moved up in the UI. And so previously you could only buy one voodoo doll. You can now stack them to add 10 more blocks of health to your health bar, giving you a total of 20 as opposed to 10 when you first start off. This is important in all roguelike games, and this game is no exception, so I added it like I have intended for a while now. So I'm also going to buy the bear trap and the soup to get started. So as you can see here, the arrow is pointing toward the door. It's not really needed because it's right here anyway. But I'd like to talk about this in the top left-hand corner here. So I'm obviously in developer mode right now, so I can't die, and I have all the requirements needed to get onto the next level or buy the items in the shop. But when you first play this game, or when you play this game in the regular mode, you'll have 0 coins, and you won't have this, which is the key that you need to unlock the door in order to move on to the next floor. Actually, whatever, if I call it room, I'm so done with it, with figuring out what to call it. Anyway, so the key is a mechanic I thought of in the game to just make it a little more interesting, make each room a little more interesting, because previously you can really ignore all the enemies and just get to the door, get onto the next room, and just pretty much finish the game that way, and this was boring. So I got this idea for the key, which is held by one of the enemies throughout each level, which requires you to kill certain enemies in order to find this key. It's useful, or it's not useful, but it just makes the game more fun. It adds depth to the game, and it's just something I thought would be needed. Since I'm here, I'd like to go over a little bit how crates have changed. The crate mechanic is a little boring in my opinion, so I tried to make it a little more interesting by allowing you to destroy the crates. And by destroying the crates, they have a random chance of dropping coins, which are pretty much a safe way of collecting coins if you don't want to risk yourself and get some enemy or kill some enemies. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what crates are going to be used for. Right now you can use them as a shield, or you can stack them as a wall, but I haven't found myself or anyone else who has tried to play the game find that mechanic useful. So I'm still trying to figure all that out. But anyway, let's move on to the next room, next floor, and continue with this video. It's a cool little animation there. So I'm in developer mode, like I said before, so I'm going to keep getting the shop every time every time I advance. So I want to go over some of the sprite changes that I have made. There's nothing really new in this level in terms of new enemies or new concepts or whatever, but I have scaled the enemies to make them larger or smaller than the player, because previously, if you've seen the other gameplay videos that I have, they all the enemies are the same height as the player, and I just felt that that didn't work. That shouldn't be, because all these enemies are different and they're all different sizes. So the keeper is at the height that he should be. The pig in the previous level, if you recall, is bigger than the player, bigger than the goblin, how he should be. It's just something that should have been done from the beginning, but I don't think about, and just have to wait to have that realization like I did. I'm sure there are plenty more of those I'm going to have to figure out at some point. But other than that, there's nothing really new about this. The Rockman's a little bigger. He's a weird animation problem, though, that I'm going to have to look at. I think I know why. It's because I fixed a different bug that causes this bug, but I know I have to fix that. As you can see, he doesn't loop through an animation like he should. But he's bigger too. The rainbow guy's not much different. So, other than that, we're going to move on to the next room, the bog. It's going to be a long walk. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully it's going to be right up here somewhere. We also have a plan to add props to the game, like just background images, random background images, that will add a little more flavor, you can call it, to the game, and a scrolling background as well, which is going to be cool. So here we got the bile spewer. I forget if I went over him, so I'm just going to go over him again. He's a very fast enemy. He's a dangerous enemy in terms of how much health or how much damage he will do. So it's best to have some type of speed perks, and yeah, the soup really helps with this because it allows you to do more damage. But this is the bile spewer. He's one of the better looking enemies, I think. He shoots bile from his face, which does damage to you, and yeah, there's nothing really more to him. And that's the only enemy on this level right now. We're gonna add more, like we will for most levels. Or all levels probably. We gotta add another enemy or two. But as of right now, he's the only guy. We do have an idea, which actually the idea is done. I just have to implement it for another enemy on the first level, which is a combination of the pig and the goblin. It's pretty much a goblin riding a pig, and he does ranged attacks like the rainbow ghost in the previous room. And he'll throw bombs at you. It's cool. I think having a variety, or having both range attack enemies and melee attack enemies are important. Just to add a little bit more challenge to the game. So now we're on the new level, or one of the new levels, the meat room. I guess I just made that name up now. So the enemy on this level right now is the meat man, as I call him, and he doesn't do damage like the traditional enemies do. Instead, he will blow up when you kill him, and that will do damage if you're too close to him. But he is guaranteed to drop coins. He has a 90% chance of dropping coins, which makes him somewhat worth it, and you do have to kill enemies anyway to find the key, but he will do a decent amount of damage if you get close, and there's also a chance that he'll do that and drop a bunch of coins, which are good. he still has a little bit of bug. There's a few bugs with his walking and stuff. As you can see there, he got. Actually, no, that was correct. I didn't realize there were 2 boxes there. He's supposed to get caught behind the boxes, but as you can see, he's a little too wide to fit through this crack here, so he walks over it as if it's not there. And that's just a problem with my spacing. I'm going to have to do about maybe 10 tile spacing instead of the 5 that I have now as a default. He also is the first enemy to have a death animation, which all enemies will have. But yeah, that's it for this room, or this floor. Oh god, there's a lot of them. They tend to herd like this because that's their strategy. They'll herd, and then they'll get close to you and force you to kill them, and then they'll explode and stuff, and that causes damage, like I said. Another thing that I'm starting to notice about some of these sprites is that they overlap when they get closer to each other, and it's not natural. Like they're not colliding. It doesn't seem like. So I'm gonna have to work on that colliding algorithm a little better, because it seems like it's non-existent now. But you know, it's all the little things that count. So let's move on to the final floor before the boss, and this is the hell-themed floor. Right now there are 2 enemies on this floor. We have the Hellhound, which is he's a fast enemy. I have to make him faster though, since he's a higher level enemy, but he's supposed to be fast, and he bites and does a moderate amount of damage. He only has a 1-stage attack. But yeah, that's him. I'll go over more in a little bit. Let me see if I can find the other enemy on here. And this here is the Hell Skeleton. When he gets close enough to you, he will climb over you and smash his teeth into the floor at you. And if you're under him, he will do more damage than the Hellhound. So he'll give you quite a beating. But it's harder for him to attack you since he has to get on top of you. But he's also harder to kill. And he also has a death animation. So the Hellhound animation it still needs to be worked on a little bit, because unlike the other enemies, the Hellhound will climb instead of jump the walls. And as you can see, when he switches into those climbing sprites, it messes everything up. So I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. But other than that, I'm pretty sure I went over everything that I want to go over for this update. I will be making these until, I don't know, I'm just going to keep making these because I think it's important to document the progress. And yeah, so I've been trying to get on social media and stuff and start talking to developers about the game, and I'll leave a link to that in the description to the Twitter page for 3 Prong Productions. And yeah, so we're going to keep moving forward. I'll keep making updates periodically when I feel that moderate progress has been made. And until then, stay tuned, and I will talk to you soon.